in 2019, a poster on the door of the office that I worked at in Bartlett said, "I believe survivors," and someone stopped and vandalized it and said, "I don't believe liars." And we were promptly reached out to by administration, which great, awesome. We had a meeting, when I brought my coworkers with me, administration felt threatened by that for some reason, because they felt like for some reason, I'll say specifically Dean Kara, actually, former Dean Kara, felt threatened by students who wanted to share how this impacted them in their experience. And when we asked what administration was doing to support students and to impact rape culture on campus, Dean Kara told me and my coworkers that that was our job. That wasn't her job. Maybe part of the reason why she's not here anymore, but it seems to me like not much has changed, at least in the way that it impacts us. And the entire culture around it, when a UMPD officer came to talk to us about figuring out who did it, he talked about it like it was some stupid kid. It wasn't some stupid kid. It was someone who thought so strongly that survivors were liars that they stopped in the middle of their day to write it down and let us know. That's not insignificant. But to the UMPD officer, it was insignificant. It didn't matter to him. It was whatever. It was like an inconvenience in his day to stop and talk to students who were impacted by this, by a survivor who had to go to work that day and read that someone thinks I'm a liar. But I'm wondering, also, I mean, to elaborate more on that experience with UMPD, I guess, yeah. How are you addressing the whole culture? Because it's not just us coming to you. It's not just us doing the work. It's you as administrators talking to us. It's UMPD. It's the whole system. So what are you doing to make us feel like it matters, to make us feel like we can trust it when we come to you, because we don't right now?
So thank you for sharing the story. I will say that, first of all, we're here and we are listening. And that is, I think, very important. You know, for us to hear, I mean, for me, this is very helpful to kind of understand the stories, to hear the experiences, and to know how we can do better. And so, you know, UMPD is an area that reports to me, and so the things that I'm hearing, absolutely assure you, I will do some follow-up and have those conversations. So I think that this in and of itself is evidence of our want to understand, to listen, and do better.
Sorry, could you elaborate on that a little bit, please? No? That's a good answer.
Yeah, I think being a little more specific in that we're talking about an entire culture here, and that what are you doing so that UMPD is not dismissing students' concerns, that UMPD is not pretending like when we come to them that child is just a drunk student, because that's what they talk. That's how they talk to my residents.
So again, I mean, as a supervisor of that area, I absolutely will, you know, for me, there's an accountability piece there that I take seriously, and we'll do that follow-up. But I also think that, as the Chancellor talked about, this review process and the ability to really look holistically at the culture on campus will tell us a lot and be able to highlight for us areas where we need to do that type of work more seriously. Does that clarify a little bit better?
No.
We're getting the same kind of vague answers over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
One second. What you want to go on? Do you want to go on?
We can just move on, yeah.
My question. Yeah, so I'm just basically going to add on to what they said. We've heard within the last week and even in the past few minutes just how many stories there are of victims basically being gaslighted, being ignored, and being victim blamed by the administration. So your image is tainted right now. We're not comfortable, we're not safe, we don't feel safe coming to you about these things. And I understand that there's very little you can do without us reporting, but how are we supposed to report if we don't feel safe? And what I think you have to do is come to us as us. Because there's such a distance between the students and administration, and these issues are very personal to us. We can't come forward about these things unless you build that relationship with us. So how are you going to do that?
I appreciate your comments, and to me, I think one of the hardest things for me being the dean of students and being new last year was COVID, and not being able to be in the places where students are. So the students that I have been able to meet, one of the things that I have said is to your student group, invite me to your meeting. Allow me to come and sit with you and talk with you. It's important to me to know who students are. I see myself as someone who is supposed to advocate for students, but I can't advocate for you if I don't know who you are. So my request is invite me to things. Help me. I am happy to come. It is after 5 o'clock. I realized when I took this job that I would not be working an 8:30 to 5 job. I know that there are times when you all don't have meetings until 9 o'clock at night. I am willing to come and listen to you. I'm willing to come and meet with you. I think that's part of my job, and it's the part of my job that honestly excites me. I want to know what the stories are, because knowing what's going on with our students helps us to really truly address the issues the way that the best way that we can.
And I just want to add that because I am exactly the same approach. And it's been challenging for us to really get to know and yes, invite us, but also know that we are the type that will show up to events as well. So we've been doing that all this year, and it's important in the SACL and with our SACL colleagues that we've been to the cultural center events, we've been out to all the welcome different events, so we can engage and meet with students. And even in my engagement with the protesters on Fridays, my attempt was to try to meet with a few of them. You know, they didn't want to do that and respect that, but I really do want to build a relationship and continue this conversation. It is very important to us, particularly in student affairs campus life.
I will add, I see myself as part of this community. So I took this job because I wanted to be part of the community. It's really hard for me to sit up here and be seen as the administration. I get that that's how you see me, but it's important to me to be in touch with students, to feel like I'm a part of the community. So I do hope that students will invite us to be able to sit and talk with you, so that we can get to know you. And because I feel like that builds a trusting relationship where you can share with us the things that are going on.
Hi there, my name is Rox Calabro. I am a junior and an English major, also a trans student. The reason I come up here today is firstly relevant to trans issues, but if I have the time, I have a couple other questions that I would like to ask. Fraternities have an almost like this invite ticket called a ratio. A ratio is something that fraternities enact in order to almost farm more female students to come in. As a trans person, I personally cannot really go to many frat parties that have ratios because they will misgender me. Ratios, basically, if a male student is to come alone to a frat, chances are he won't be allowed in. If he brings a large amount of female students, he will be allowed to get in. So my question is, why are ratios entrance caps that divide students by their gender in order to bring more women into fraternities allowed? How is the act of male fraternities farming more women attendees not predatory and inherently discriminatory against trans and non-binary students?
To be honest, I have not heard of this before.
Yeah, sure.
2021.
I would be very
How can you not hear that in 2021? Not to mention close to 2022. Never heard of that? Oh, come on. Baloney. Baloney.
I do have this,
Hear that, folks? She said she never heard of that.
I was asked by a student.
She's a liar.
And friend from the university this question. Firstly, how much money is UMass making off of fraternity, specifically GS5?
Yeah, good question. Good question.
And its alumni. And its alumni.
That works at UMass Medical. Come on.
I mean, again, you'll have a big laugh. I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't. So it would be helpful.
Oh, come on.
Because I don't know.
Chancellor claims he doesn't know what he's talking about.
In the 10 years I've been here.
Hear that? He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Alumnus was looking to me to support a fraternity or to stop action against the fraternity, not having anything to say with the fraternity.
The question was about how much money the school annually gets from
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
From alumni in general, but I don't know if they're belonging to a fraternity or not. We don't really classify.
I think it's more about like
He's saying he doesn't know.
And I think they're asking how much frat members, like frat dues, how much money is made off of frats. Frat dues, donations, all that.
Mhm.
How much money does UMass directly get from frats?
Exactly.
That's what
Exactly.
we're trying to find out.
For dues,
The public has the right to know. The world has the right to know. He said dues. The whole world has the right to know.
so the fraternities themselves assess their members' dues. We don't make any money off of that. That goes to those organizations.
Oh, come on.
Why are they here?
Then why are they here then?
Why are they still here?
Why are the frats still here? Why can't you abolish them?
Okay, so, since it's been made a bit clear that there is not a direct answer to that question that's going to be made, another question that students have brought me to ask is, has the admin brought in the main suspect of the sexual assault case at Theta Chi and talked to the frat in general? What interactions have there been between Theta Chi and the admin?
since the sexual assault.
Since the sexual assault.
I also just want to add something. You said that you needed concrete evidence. You said that you needed to know where these things are going on in order to stop them. Yet, it was in your face for a whole weekend at the protest outside of Theta, so I just don't understand, like, what more you need.
Mm-hmm.
In cases where our system didn't work, if I don't know where it failed,
We told you.
Yeah, we did told you.
We said Theta.
Yep. She said Theta, people.
Someone was named, and we all agreed it's not here any longer for a good reason. But I'm not sure for many of the other, survivor lived experiences, where did the system fail? It was not very explicit. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm tense.
So the question is about why, what has been done about the sexual assault that happened, that led to the protest? The problem that we have had is that we have not received a substantiated report about someone being raped at that house on the night that it got put on whatever social media platform it was put on. We don't have anything at this point to be able to investigate related to that specific issue.
People have hundreds of people standing outside and screaming and crying and having police officers push them. That's not enough for you?
All the
People here, it's not enough?
And what about that cop that said, don't lose your education for this?
Guys, if you have questions, you should come in line because otherwise we're not going to be able to get through all the questions. So if you have additional questions about this, you can come and stand in line.
Okay. First I'd like to say that, Chancellor, you referred to these cases, these stories that people have told as instances of the system failing. And I'd like to say that when there are dozens and dozens of cases of this happening, and no cases of reported rape end up being resolved, then that looks like a feature and not a bug.